Snow White did debut this weekend at the box office, and Rachel Zegler's celebrating, baby. She's celebrating because Disney's Snow White is the #1 movie in the world, Jay. Have you heard? Have you heard that Disney Snow White is the #1 movie in the world? And we have celebratory tweets. And of course, you can see the reactions from some people here. What in the Hunter Biden you've been smoking? You have the worst opening in Disney history. Well, at least Disney live action bastardizations. And the media is finally asking the hard-hitting questions, things we've been talking about for a while, Jay. How Snow White landed in potential bomb territory. Is there still a chance for a fairy tale ending? No. Spoiler alert, no, there's not. We talked about this movie opening to $87 million worldwide. Projected to open at 100, which still would have been disastrous for Disney and the worst they've ever seen. But no, came in less than projections at 87.3. Then we got the official numbers, and it came in lower domestically and lower overseas. The final tally is an $86.1 million start for Disney's Snow White. But Rachel Zegler, she keeps posting and posting and posting and doing a lot of PR now to get people's attention, at least for her followers, to go watch this movie. But there's one thing who's noticeably absent, Jay, like you talked about the other day, in all of Rachel Zegler's posts. Rachel Zegler noticeably excludes co-star Gal Gadot from Snow White tributes amid feud rumors.
I'm telling you, she is going to blame Gal when all this is said and done. I mean, coming out and saying it's the #1 movie in the world is like when I came out and said I'm the #1 lawnmower streamer on Twitch, and I held that title for a year. Simply because there was only one other person playing Lawnmower Simulator when I was playing, and I happened to have 100 more people than he did. So technically, yes, I was the #1 lawnmower simulator streamer on Twitch for a year. So I guess I could say the same thing. Maybe I should get a photo of me pushing a lawnmower and say I'm #1.
Yeah, and obviously it is all about perspective. And when you consider the fact that nothing else is coming out, there's no competition. We just got through one of the worst several-week box office stretches we've seen in history because of how little is actually coming out right now. But Rachel Zegler, she had to post this and say thank you to all of her co-stars. I'm not going to read all of this shit, but it's talking about this movie is life-changing. And it takes a whole cast and crew, and everyone was so wonderful. Everyone worked so hard on this movie. Thank you very much. One thing we noticeably don't see throughout any of this, however, is Gal.
Yeah, Gal Gadot is missing in action, but everybody else is.
Where's the Saratoga water? That's my question.
Yeah, that's
not over there. Nice little dog, though. There's some other people, some of the bandits hanging out. Her horse, the horse got an inclusion.
Everybody there's a close-up of her chest.
Yes.
I guess.
There's the well.
Yeah.
There's her makeup artist trying on her dress.
And look at her face. She's I'm wondering where his wiener is, maybe.
Jesus. There's at the end, everybody wearing white. There's her mom and dad.
She's they were in the movie for 5 minutes? Ain't no evil queen.
And she didn't have a single scene with them, right? That was
that's right. It was the
young actress.
Yeah.
There's her taking a nap.
Oh.
Red card, foul. But all of these pictures in strange, shocking, I can't believe no Gal Gadot anywhere.
Oh.
It's obvious that they have very different political opinions, specifically about what's going on in the Middle East. And you are seeing some people, some actors trying to blame Gal Gadot for this failure on social media. I don't think Rachel Zegler is going to straight come out and say it or like make a post or anything like that. But I think the media is desperately going to do that to try to pretend that this wasn't Rachel Zegler's fault, that she wasn't the primary driving factor behind this complete disaster.
I'm going to disagree and say she's going to say it, but not say her name. That she's going to say it in a shady way. You know, she's going to say, well, there was someone on the project that nobody agreed with and nobody liked working. Like, she's going to say something, and we all know who she's going to be talking about because she just can't help herself. She cannot help herself. That's my prediction. I could be wrong, but I don't think she can help herself. I think she's one of those Hollywood people that they constantly pass the blame. They never can look at themselves in the mirror and say, it's my fault. They love passing the blame on everything. It's the fans' fault. It's the racist fault. It's the Trump supporters' fault. It's this people's fault. It's that person's fault. It's not my fault. Somebody else's fault. That's just what they do. They constantly do that stuff. So I don't see any exception from her, in my opinion.
Yeah, and
we'll find out who's right or wrong. Like, Ryan's usually 99.9, 100% right. Sometimes I sneak in there that 0.001%, but we'll see.
Well, I 1000% think that sometime in the future in an interview gonna be talked about, like, you know, what do we think happened with that? And I think she's just gonna refer to, you know, a bunch of people had problems with what we did in the movie, and people got angry over a bunch of things that got blown out of proportion. That's how I think she's gonna play it off. Not that she said anything wrong, that people spun everything and talk about controversies like the dwarves and shit. I just don't know if she's going to specifically try to do that openly. Now, like, she was posting edits of people removing Gal Gadot from the movie and posting them to her Instagram, little shady things like that. But in terms of like her being like, oh yeah, Gal Gadot, the second star in this film, she's the reason we lost all this money. I don't think she's quite going to do that, but she is retarded. So possibly. You still have Collider doing their best. Snow White's Rotten Tomato score sinks lower despite box office success.
What a spin, man. Oh, what a freaking spin.
Bro, fucking so gay and stupid. Now, this is a bomb. Always was going to be a bomb. Will continue to be a bomb. A nightmare for Disney.
Yeah, it's over and done. They're moving on. They're hoping for that Lilo and Stitch recovery money, which will probably happen. So crazy.
It seems like there's a lot of positive energy for that. Yeah.
I think that's going to do massive numbers. I think it'll hit 1 billion easy. I just think it will.
Probably. I
could be wrong.
I've never seen the original one, so
320 on Snow White. Holding on to my prediction. We'll see if it's true. I got a couple weeks. Maybe it'll have a boom.
No, I think after this opening weekend, I think yours is spot on, if not a little too high. Like, the international numbers are so fucking bad. We just,
you know what they'll do? Remember what Disney will do once it goes on to streaming? They'll be like, we made our money back because streaming bought us, even though it's on their own streaming service.
Yeah, that's what they try to do desperately with these end of year fucking reports.